3, 2, 1. What's going on, everyone? You're watching Ash on Comics. My name is Ash. And here is today's comic. Music So Appropriate by Danny Elfman, the original Batman movie from 1989. So iconic, the theme. Today is a very special day. Joining me as always is Stan the Man, known for his epic works at Marvel, but still the pioneers and godfather of all comics. Our trusty intern, Forky, who brings so much to this channel and reminds us all that we are worth something. We are not trash. Also, to celebrate such a monumental occasion, I of course have the best candy in the world, gummy bears. Not only the best candy in the world, but the best version of that candy. Now, if you can get Haribo, that's a solid substitution. But Black Forest gummy bears are the best, made with real fruit juice. As you can see, no artificial colors, fat-free, gluten-free, whatever. Great stuff. I'm also having some cold pizza from the best pizza place in San Diego. Got my drink, got my junk. Okay. Batman, Curse of the White Knight. This is a special book for me because the original Batman, the regular White Knight, is what got me back into comics. I had taken a hiatus from comics for a long, long time. In the mid-90s, late to mid-90s, comics just sort of became less interesting. I was in my early to mid-20s, and other things were happening in my life. My love of comics which was built around X-Men. Claremont had left, Jim Lee had left. Everything that was great about X-Men had left. Marvel really wasn't able to fill the shoes. It sort of became a middling title. And it's kind of what anchored me to the rest of comics. The indie scene was dying because of Image. And you say, well, Ash, Image is indie. And it's like, yeah, it is, but it's not the same kind of indie. I'm talking about indie like Mirage Comics, Pacific Comics, Malibu Comics. These guys that were doing real indie stuff, like the Black and White Turtles and so forth. Suffice it to say, I took a break from comics. Now, comics never left my heart. I didn't start hating comics. I didn't even stop loving them. Just different things were going on in my life, and I kept my ear to the pavement. Definitely got super excited when Iron Man came out and the birth of the MC Universe. I still felt connected. But it wasn't until 2017 that I sort of really got back. I came across Diversity in Comics, our boy Zach. Somehow, I don't know how, I don't remember how I came across the YouTubes. Probably just because I was connected to other geek culture, and I discovered it somehow through the way of algorithms. And it rekindled the spark in me, that my love for comics. After listening to him and other fans of comics, I decided I missed it so much, I wanted to get back, I wanted to be a part of the conversation. Eventually, I would start my own channel in 2018 because of this book here. The original White Knight was the first comic. This is what got me back into comics. The original White Knight is one of the best comics I have ever read. I thought about this, and I tend to not want to be hyperbolic because I think the modern era isn't quite as good as what I call the real golden age, mid-80s to mid-90s. That's the ultimate era of comics. Everything, all the great stuff of comics either came from that era or was spawned by creations of that era. And now I can hear the old school fans like Eric Breen and others like just rolling eyes back in their head. Eric's probably throwing Milky Ways across the room. I do understand that there were great comics before this, like that they were building blocks, right? They still hadn't really reached their potential. We wouldn't have comics today weren't for people like Kirby and Ditko and other legends, but they still hadn't reached the peak of their craft. They still were pioneering and developing things that other great minds would then build upon. Anyways, that's a topic for another discussion. I always say, like, the modern era of comics doesn't have anything great. You look back in the mid 80s and mid 90s, and you have Watchmen, Dark Knight Returns, Infinity Gauntlet. There's all of these great books, and when you want to say, well, what about the last 20 years? What about, or just since post 2000? What's a legendary great book that people remember? There's really nothing. Comics hasn't been great for a long time, but it's starting to change, and I think this book is super exciting. The original White Knight was super exciting because it, for me, in my opinion, falls within that category, and it's introduced a new creator who's both a fantastic writer and an artist, and we haven't seen someone of this caliber, in my opinion, who's so good at both categories since Frank Miller. Anyways, so here we are with this book. This is what I'm talking about today. This is going to spark a little bit of a new direction for the channel as well. I thought this would be a good excuse. I'm no longer going to do comic reviews. Okay, that's not entirely true. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I haven't been really happy with the direction of my channel, just being like, comic review, and then weekly, here's a pull list. Comic review, weekly, here's a pull list. I feel it's kind of dull. I think some people kind of like it. I don't think anyone's wowed by it. Not that I'm expecting my new direction is going to wow anyone, but it hasn't been something satisfying for me. It hasn't felt right. I'm still going to do mostly what I'm doing, but I just didn't like comic review. It feels too dull and boring. I want to just talk about comics. So this review is going to be like, well, I just said it, right? This video is going to be what my channel is named, Ash on Comics. So my video reviews are going to transition and now just be called Ash on whatever, Ash on Batman White Knight, Ash. And then it's going to be a discussion about the comic. That's what I really wanted to do. I didn't want to just tell people how good a book is, take my word for it. I want to talk about the comic. I want to talk about how the book made me feel, why I liked it, why you should like it maybe, why you shouldn't, why you should avoid it. These are things that incorporate with a review, but I want to open up and encourage more two-way dialogue and not just try to come off as some authority on comics, because I'm really not. I'm just an opinionated guy, and I love comics. Anyone who's watching this channel, you must love comics too, because there's really no other reason. And I've spent quite a bit of time already in this little lead up to my video because I wanted to announce this change, and it's going to probably make the video a little bit long. I'm going to put in the comments where to start the review for people who just don't have the time or attention to listen to everything that I got to blab on about. But I wanted to take this time because it's going to... Really, dogs? Come on. It's going to have a slightly different direction. People wonder what's going on. So this is Curse of the White Knight. I'm sitting down with my cold pizza. I got my gummy bears. I got my drink. I have not read this yet. So I got the Batman soundtrack going. The iconic one. I think Sean Murphy would approve. I haven't watched any reviews of this book or seen any spoilers. I have no idea other than what the previews have told me about the book and what the last experience to expect. So I'm going to read it, and I hope it lives up to my expectations. I'm going to come back, and we're going to talk about it. All right, we're back. Fast forward in time. I have read this book, ate my cold pizza, ate my delicious gummy bears, sat here with my boys Stan and Forky. Let's talk about Batman Curse of the White Knight. Now, I am probably going to spoil stuff. That's just the way that I do things. So I hope if you're watching right now, stop. Read this book. If you haven't read the original White Knight, read that first. This is a direct sequel. Okay, this is Empire Strikes Back to Star Wars. This isn't something you jump in on. Sometimes sequels are just new stories, new adventures. This is a continuation of what we're going to call the Murphyverse. And I'm telling you, you will not be sorry. Even if you tell me, I'm not a huge Batman guy or whatever. Do it. Do it. Sean Murphy is a fan of Batman from a normie perspective, okay? He's not one of these ultra comic geeks that came into Batman, it's read it for 20, 30 years, always wanted to write Batman and things like that. No, he's a guy who sort of came into comics sort of almost accidentally, I guess. He's got friends in comics, so he's doing that. He's doing really well at it. And he sort of came onto Batman like the casual person. He saw the movies. He saw the animated series. He's got his buddies like Scott Snyder and other people who are like, here, you got to read this great Batman story, give him Frank Miller, or I don't know the exact books that he gave him, but I'm assuming it was like the great ones, like Long Halloween or what have you. And so Sean has the benefit of just reading some of the all-time great stories, skipping over all the years of just standard ongoing Batman stuff that, the real fans cling to. And some people might consider that a bad thing, but I consider that a wonderful thing because this is a guy who doesn't necessarily love Batman any less, but it's a love that's based on the non-comic book nerd way. And he incorporates all of Batman. He incorporates the TV show, not the 60s TV show perhaps, but the movie, the 89 movie from, Tim Burton. That's why I had that soundtrack playing at the beginning. He incorporates the Christopher Nolan Batmans. The last series had the Tumbler in it. You can tell he's a big fan of the animated series. That White Knight, when it came out, he kind of announced, I'm not sure if this is still true, if he's veered away from that, but he announced that the White Knight actually kind of takes place in an imaginary continuity along that line of the animated series. So there's references to that. His Harley Quinn in that book is from the animated series. Obviously, he's got even like the comic books. And so there's like this collective collage of all these classic, iconic aspects of Batman that hardcore fans, like perhaps Sergeant Bats, not that he wouldn't appreciate, but don't necessarily normally, if he were to write Batman, I don't think he would do that. I think he would be really true to the era of comics of Batman that he likes. But Murphy kind of gives this rainbow painting, if you will, of all the different various flavors of Batman that we've all loved, and he puts it into his own take that is fantastic. These are one of these things that could blow up in your face if you just did not execute it well, but under the craft of a true artist, it's amazing. So anyways, enough of these long-winded disclaimers. We open up with this book in a fight, and we see some crazy guy, ha 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 ha, and that immediately clues us in. And then we see a Errol Flynn type character here, Arkham, along with some mysterious sort of aristocratic type gentleman. And this is taking place in the past. And he dives down, they're having a sword fight. "Don't force my hand, General. Surrender. Leave this valley and give me what's mine. Are you really so willing to pay the price? Ack!" And he's got a whip snap around his neck. "What price?" "Gotham Valley is cursed, Lord Wayne. There are demons in these darkened forests, ancient ones that seep from the mountains and rivers and flow through the village at night. No one is safe. They'll turn you into a monster like the rest of us. Sorry, Laffy. See the connection? I don't believe in curses. Stabs him through the chest. Hiss. And then, ah! Ha 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 ha. Arkham Manor, 1685. And that is the opening of, boom, Curse of the White Knight. Oh, look at this image. And if you've read the original White Knight, you know the Jack Napier Joker, who is not, comic canon. But again, he's one of these characters that Sean Murphy does, and it's just like, this character is not accurate to the comics, but I wish he was. And that's a theme that you're going to see throughout this book and the original book. Sean doesn't get the characters right. He gets them better. And you're just like, damn. And that's not a knock, on the original Joker, if you like the original Joker, if you like different takes of Batman or whatever. That's not a knock on those. Not to say that those characters are bad. But it's just a way of elevating Sean's achievement here and saying, this is so utterly fantastic. This is a character, Azrael, that you may know from back in the 90s when we talked about all the great comics. Nightfall, when the introduction of Bane, Batman's back was broken. There was a new Batman, and it was Azrael took that place. This is him. Now, I read the Nightfall series, of course. Everyone who really read comics back then read Nightfall. Even if you weren't a Batman guy, you were like, oh, what? Batman's... It was an event. Almost as big as the death of Superman, in comic circles at least. And I read it, and I wanted to like it so much. I thought Azrael... I was more of an edgelord back then, so I thought Azrael was just the coolest fucking thing. I still do. Look at this picture. Holy shit. But to be truth be told, I just didn't like him when I read the book. And I think people have talked to me and other, people have analyzed the books and other fans. And there's a theory that I subscribe to that some fans say, it was on purpose. You weren't supposed to like Azrael. The whole point was for you to want Batman back. And it was this sort of meta statement about the violence of superheroes, and superheroes were getting too violent. Marvel was doing The Punisher, was becoming really popular, and all this whole thing about superheroes don't kill, and fans were sort of kind of lusting after these more violent edgelord characters, and DC was like, well, we'll give you the violent edgelord character, see how you like it. And then people were like, oh, we want our Batman back, and it was... I subscribe to that theory. It's not my own theory, but other people have said it. I'm like, you know what? That makes sense, and that's what I hold to. And I think it worked well. It was effective. But even still, I did want to like Azrael. So I'm like, oh, I'm so excited that Sean Gordon Murphy is doing him. We open up as the story starts after that great introduction. Arkham Asylum today. Shut off the cameras. Or sorry. Doing the wrong voices. I hate when I do that. I shut off the cameras, but you need to be quick. We're all very interested in what you have to offer. Of course you are. Here's the bag you asked for, and the keys to your old cell. You're coming with me. But what if someone sees me? You and your friends want that? If you and your friends want what I have, then we do it my way, like always. And so they're going back through old Arkham, and this is kind of where the original series ended. And so Joker is going into his old cell, and he's looking for something. And this is sort of the kernel of the story. Both Batman and the Joker have extracted something from the past that's going to connect them and be the driving force of the story. It's a theme that Sean Gordon Murphy used in the original series, so I kind of recognize it. I like it. It really helps keep things grounded. It keeps things directed, so they don't just go off course like my videos. I love Sean's voices for these characters. And then Gordon's like, "Can I see it?" "No touchy! I can't show you now. That'll ruin the punchline." Why do I feel like I'm forgetting something? Sneak to the cell, grab my stuff, check. Oh yeah! My old disappearing pen trick. And he starts stabbing him. And it's just like, is that why you brought me here all the way to stab me? Well, I couldn't stab you earlier because that would have ruined, you would have called the police too soon. And I don't like to be rushed. It's just great. The Joker is overused. I readily admit that. People are like, oh, I'm so sick of the Joker. I get it. I'm with you. But we can't let that take away of when he's used well, right? Just because other people are using him too much doesn't mean that this is bad. It sucks. It sucks that that's the case, and I wish this were more special because of that, but it's still great. Here we get the message that Alfred left Bruce after his death, or in case of his death. We read this in the last series, but it's repeated here for people to remember, and it's basically Alfred pointing him to this old chest. It's like, here's something you need to see, and this is a really nice letter, by the way, and I'm really sad Alfred's dead. Like, I know it's just an Elseworld story, but this book is so good, or the White Knight was so good that it felt like real Batman to me. It didn't feel like, oh, I'm reading some weird Elseworld. Like, it felt like, oh, this is Batman. This is how I want Batman to be. If you told me, hey, Ash, DC is saying they will scrub the current Batman continuity and everything, and they'll just completely replace it, and going forward it'll be this, I would say this. Just do it. I know some people might be rolling their eyes, even bats might be, but I just like this so much. I like the changes, and they're subtle changes. It's not radical. It's not like Batman is this whole different character. It's sort of just little things around him that are different. So we have this interrogation with the warden, right? And Batman doesn't buy things, and Gordon and him are having a really cool conversation, and it doesn't seem very exciting if you're just watching along. It's like, Batman's reading a letter after, it's now talking with Gordon, but the dialogue is superb, and it's like an investigation, and Batman's trying to piece together what's going on. Yeah, I caught you. So he doesn't buy it. Does the swear to me scene here against the warden, who's like, tells him, kind of fesses up. So Batman goes to investigate the old cell, put back the pieces, and they find this old passage. They come to the passage, and it leads up, it's like a well. It's been here a long time. They found some bones. Meanwhile, we cut over. I think this is the mayor. Not quite sure. She's coming in. Powerful woman. Right on time, Ruth. I've got something big for you. Something that'll really bring down the house. I love he's wearing a Batman shirt. I love that. And she's just staring at him like, what the hell? Get your goddamn feet off my mahogany desk. And this is a powerful woman, right? You come in, you see Joker in your office, and you talk to him like that. So now we've got Nightwing. And again, we talk about my love for the Murphyverse. Nightwing. This is Nightwing. To me, I know Bats is no, it's not really. I never liked Nightwing, and I've had these long discussions with Sergeant Bats about why and how. This is what I want Nightwing to be. I feel like Nightwing's a grown man here, and he's sort of a real strong counter to Bruce. He's the Robin grown up. And what Robin was the positive light on Batman, this influence to Batman as a child, Nightwing still maintains as a grown man. And he feels effective. He feels strong and dominant, not just, I'm Bruce's sidekick. But he is still not Batman. And Bruce is real mad. They're arguing about, because Bruce says, I'm going to reveal my identity and everything. And we have this really cool admission here of like Bruce Wayne is like, he's mad because he failed, right? And he feels that, he's got all these resources and everything's going, and I hear him, I'm supposed to make Gotham a better place, and I failed. And he's mad because Joker, as Jack Napier, did some good for the city in the previous series. and Nightwing's kind of confronting him about that. You don't want to join us, the GT, what are they called? The Gotham City. He's working with the police. That's the whole thing. Like it's a special superhero unit of the police. And he's like, you don't want to join us because it has Napier's name on it, right? Well, that's bullshit. Napier wasn't the Joker. He was the good guy. And then Batman responds, if he was a good guy, what does that make me? And then now that's not what you want me to admit it, fine. Napier did a lot of good. He exposed the corruption and the hypocrisy and ushered in a new era for Gotham. But he took me down in order to do it. I'm not mad at Napier. I'm mad at myself. And I had no excuse for getting it wrong. What do you mean? Look around. I had an infinite amount of wealth and resources, and I spent decades using them to pursue one single goal, to make Gotham a better place. It was my only job, and I failed. And the only reason I finally saw my mistakes was because my greatest enemy rubbed my face in them. Damn, Tom King, if you're watching, which you're not, this is how you write Batman. This is not a beta male cuck who sits and wallows and, oh, my poor little life. This is a man who's upset at himself for failing, and he's going to do something about it, and he's not taking it like a little baby, but he's still enraged. Oh, man. That's why I can't join the GTO, because I don't know how long Batman has left. And then we cut over here, and this is John Paul, a.k.a. Azrael, and he goes through he's got cancer, he's having visions and all sorts of weird things. He goes to the church for kind of help, and we cut back to Bruce Wayne talking to Batgirl, and oh shit, I do not like Batgirl normally. I think Batgirl is a dumb character, and I know people are going to hate me for this or whatever, but I just don't. I don't like token characters, and Batgirl is a token character. She's a token character to appeal to girls, to lure girls into comics back in the day. She's become more mainstream, and she's being written now for everybody. Well, she's not now being written. Anyway, her purpose, though, has extended beyond that, just being a girl character into being one of the DC Universe characters. But I never liked the idea of a street-level character just being like, oh, I'm the daughter of a police, and I can run around like Batman and fight all these thugs, and I'm 90 pounds. And it's just like, no. Like, Wonder Woman makes sense because she's the daughter of a god, and she's an Amazon, and she's got super strength, rivaling Superman. And, it's like, okay, yeah, you're going to be able to do shit. But your average just 5'3" little girl is not going to take down, a gang of street thugs, much less supervillains. Anyways, but it's comics. I just never liked that. And that's why, as kids, we didn't gravitate towards these type of characters. And that's why there were very few of them in the past. But Sean Gordon Murphy makes her character awesome through her outlook and her wit and her ability to have a different perspective than Batman and how she keeps him grounded. So Sean does this great thing with her character. Instead of saying, you know what, we need to masculinize her more, we need to make her kick more ass to be a better character. No, he says we need to focus on these other strengths, maybe feminine strengths that make her something that Batman can't be. And I'm like, I love that. I fuck yeah, give me more of that. She's cute, but she's not made to be too sexy. She's got just the right level of attractiveness, I think. I think this is truly a character that men will read the book and say, oh, I like Batgirl. But also any woman reading the book will look at it and go, oh yeah, that feels like a real woman and something I could, see myself being. I think he just gets it so right. So Batman's trying to put it together with Batgirl, and they're going over the history of Arkham and the bones that they found. And they're tracking it back to the beginnings of Arkham back in the 1600s. They haven't been able to open the case yet. He's got the whip that we saw earlier. It's made of bat leather. Sean Gordon Murphy is one of Snyder's friends. I guess they're pretty close friends, at least as far as work colleagues go. And Snyder has created this whole legacy of Batman that goes beyond just some guy whose parents were shot. Like, he's added all this mythos to Batman that some people like and some people don't. I really like it. I really like this idea that it ties into this legacy of the tribe of the Bat, if you know who the Immortal Men are, which DC fucking canceled. So stupid. And he goes back and he's kind of added this mythos that makes Bruce Wayne and the Waynes themselves more than just they're still just normal humans, but there's sort of this destiny and legacy to them that it's not just some kid happened to turn into Batman. There's reasoning. And so Sean feels like he's building upon that same concept here by going back to the 1600s. There was, the original Wayne, and then there was this Laffy guy whose real name was Lafayette, but they just called him Laffy as a nickname. So it's like, oh, that's clever. It goes along with Joker. I don't know if he's actually Napier's relative, but, you had that similar character, and then you had the guy, the aristocrat in the background. He probably is related to Jean Paul. Here we're going to see Jean Paul's talking to the father at the priest, and the priest leaves. And it's like, have a good night. And he's just mopping up the floors, and then Joker shows up. He's like, Father, is that you? Put that down, Jean Paul. You're not a janitor. You're a king, the rightful heir of Gotham. The wars, the sickness, the ghosts, in your nightmares, God hasn't been torturing you. He has been preparing you. Huh? They murdered your ancestor and seized your land, and for 7 generations they've sat on your throne. Are you an angel? Yes. I'm here to reveal your holy destiny. And he drops the sword. Clang into the altar. The truth behind your name, behind the valley. God needs you, Azrael. And look at this imagery here, very sword in the stone like. And he pulls it out and it's flaming. And we don't know, is it flaming because he pulled it out of this flaming altar? Or is it flaming because he's having visions? Or is it flaming because it's actually really flaming? He needs you to take the flame so you may bring the light. To correct the sin that has spread darkness through your kingdom. By slaying the demon, the man whose family has cursed Gotham, Bruce Wayne. And that's the end of issue 1. We get some black and white previews of, look at this, of the next issue. Oh man, Azrael looks like a bad mofo. So yeah, this is an utterly fantastic start to what I have every reason to expect should be as good a follow-up to White Knight as the original. Like, this led up to everything. Reading it again with you guys and going over the book, you can see the art for yourself. You hear the dialogue. You can see the structure of the story, the way he ties themes together. This is an exceptional comic book in every single way. I don't have the physical copy with me. I wish I could show you, but it's $4.99. It comes in a paper-bound, or not paper, like that cardboard kind of stiff cover, like that you saw with Heroes in Crisis. It's got embossing in it, so you got parts of the cover are matte, and the other parts are kind of glossy. So when you look at it in the light just right, it catches your eye. It just looks beautiful. Let's see here. Where is it? Here, there it is. Here's the B cover. So I have this in my pull box. I told him, like, hold this in my pull box because I'm thinking about, for the first time in my life, well, not my life, my first time since getting back into comics, of buying multiple covers. I'm usually against that. Just don't support this bullshit of multiple covers. But I love this so much. Well, I do. I love the original so much, and now I've read this first issue. I'm probably gonna do it because look at this freaking cover. Look at how badass. I'm a huge Arthurian mythos fan, so this imagery, and seeing that homage of the, when the sword was in the altar, I was like, oh, beautiful. I wish I could describe to you so much more That's kind of what the point of the show is, and I'm not being effective. So hopefully you've read this book, and we got to share it together, what we liked about it. You got to hear my takes and what I saw. Tell me, in the comments below, when you read the book, what were your favorite parts? What stuck out to you? Or did the book matter to you? Did you read it and were you disappointed? Did you not like it? I can't believe that that's the case. But if so, tell me what's not working for you. I really want to hear. Spread your enthusiasm. If you're like this, if you don't have a YouTube channel, that's totally fine. Use Twitter. Use the comments below. I have a Discord channel, which I always put in the description comments. You're free to come there, join. We talk. We have several different channels in there of different topics. You can talk Marvel comics, DC comics, independent comics, manga, movies, TV show, whatever things you're into. There's different channels. We also have voice, so people can meet up and have some voice chats. Man, the other night I met a viewer of the channel that we ended up talking all night. Like the sun came up and we were still talking. He had a fantastic story, and I was getting to hear about his, how he got into comics and where he came from and all about it. It's a great way to meet people. We try to run the Discord, to keep away the drama. You're not going to see all the crazy bullshit. No one's insulting anyone, and telling you you're a piece of shit because you like this comic or you didn't back this person on Indiegogo and blah 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 blah. It's like it's about the joy of comics, and man, this is why I'm into comics. I came in a year ago with White Knight, and this is like a celebratory anniversary. I love it so much. And Batman's not even my favorite character, but you have to appreciate greatness. And I hope everyone who's reading this can have some gummy bears like I did, have your favorite drink, sit down with some friends like these guys, and just love comics. # what would Stan do? Thanks for watching, and I look forward to reading what you have to say.